Next time on the second half of The Walking Dead Season 5, Rick will be heading to the Wiltshire community. Now, the Wiltshire community, also known as a neighborhood, is located in Atlanta. And the neighborhood is a suburban neighborhood, pretty much saying that it's where the wealthy and the rich people used to live at before the zombie apocalypse happened. And that's where, and also the community is a gated community. As I just stated, the community is for the rich and wealthy to live there. Now, this is where I explain the Wiltshire community in a more in-depth detail. Now, if you're familiar with the Walking Dead graphic novel, Rise of the Governor, I have the special edition right here. But if you're familiar with the graphic novel, you would know that this novel is a backstory or an origin story to the governor and how he became the governor. Now, if you don't know, the graphic novel of The Rise of the Governor is canon material, so it does connect to the Walking Dead comic book. But, back to what I was saying. You get the backstory on how the Wiltshire community first got discovered, or how the Wiltshire neighborhood first got discovered. In the graphic novel, and if you read the graphic novel, it got revealed that the governor's brother, Philip Blake. Now, for some of you who's confused, the TV show is different from the Walking Dead graphic novel, but it's also different from the Walking Dead comic book, because in the Walking Dead TV series, the governor's real name is Philip Blake. That's his real biological name. But now, in the Walking Dead comic book, and in the graphic novel, the governor's real name is Brian Blake. His brother's real name is Philip Blake. But something ends up happening to his brother. I'm not going to spoil anything, but something happened to his brother. And the governor in the comic book, he ends up stealing his brother's identity, and he ends up calling himself Philip Blake. Also in the Walking Dead TV series, the governor's biological daughter is named Penny. Now, in the Walking Dead graphic novel, also in the Walking Dead comic book, the governor doesn't have a daughter in the Walking Dead comic book. Penny is in the Walking Dead comic book, and she's also in the Walking Dead graphic novel, but that's not his daughter. That is his niece. Penny belongs to Philip Blake. That's Philip Blake's daughter. Penny is his biological daughter in the comic book, as I just stated. Brian Blake doesn't have any biological children. So Penny Blake is not his daughter when you see her as a zombie in the comic book. That's his niece. His brother is the father of Penny Blake. Now, 3 days after the zombie apocalypse or the outbreak had happened, Brian Blake, and I'm talking about the graphic novel right now, Brian Blake and Philip Blake end up traveling to the Wiltshire neighborhood or community. They end up going there seeking shelter. Now, once they get there, they think that the community is safe, and they also know that it's a gated community, so it's hard for zombies to get in. But once they get there, they decide to only stay for a couple of days and then leave. But they end up deciding to want to live there because they feel that the sanctuary is safe. But eventually, remember, it's a large neighborhood. It's a suburban neighborhood, so it's very large. Eventually, zombies start coming out of the houses, and zombies start realizing that they was in the neighborhood. But also to mention, the Wiltshire community is also have barricades around it. It's gated, but it also have barricades. But at the same time, zombies from the outside of the community end up knowing that it had human population going on in that community, so therefore they end up coming to the gated community, but they couldn't get in because they had barricades protecting them from getting into the community. But back to what I was saying, eventually zombies that's already in the community, the people that was already living in the community, end up dying when an outbreak happened. And remember, this is 3 days after, so it's not too long ago after they found the community. Now, once the outbreak happened, the resident people that lived in the Wiltshire community end up dying. Some end up getting bitten. Some end up turning. Now you have a whole bunch of zombies in the community that Philip don't know about. Eventually, the zombies end up finding them, and now they end up attacking Philip Blake's friend, Rob. Now, Rob, if you read the graphic novels, they don't have pictures of Rob because graphic novels don't really have pictures. But Rob he was one of Philip Blake's closest friends. He was overweight and he loved to eat because in the graphic novels, if you read it, he was always digging in the pantry looking for food, looking for anything he could get his hands on to eat. Rob ends up getting bitten by a child zombie. Now, once he ends up getting bitten, Philip decides to put Rob down and bury him in that community. But after Rob gets bitten, Philip also comes up with the idea that it's time for them to leave the community because now you have zombies that has found them that was in a residence living in it, the people who had turned, and now you have zombies outside of the community at the gates, but also at the barricades, clawing their way in because if you don't remember, zombies like to scratch. Because remember what the zombie did with Dale when the zombie had got on top of Dale. He clawed his weight, he clawed and he kept clawing until he ripped Dale's stomach open. So that's what they like to do. They like to claw and try to get in and stuff and try to use their fingernails. Eventually, after Philip Blake's friend ended up dying, he ends up getting bitten and Philip had to put him down. Philip decides that it's time for them to leave the gated community and leave it behind. Now, before Philip Blake and his group decides to leave the gated community, he puts a sign up to warn any human being that decides to come to the community. And the sign says, "Outdead, do not enter." After he leaves the community and put the sign up, if you're familiar with the Walking Dead comic book, you know 3 days later or 4 days later, Rick's group ends up finding the community. Finding the community themselves. But Rick doesn't see the sign right then and there. He ends up finding the sign later on after a lot of tragic stuff goes down. Now, there's a difference between the Wiltshire community that's in the Walking Dead comic book. And there's also a difference between the Wiltshire community that's in the Walking Dead TV series. And let me explain right quick. Now, the Wiltshire community that was in the Walking Dead comic book, but also in the graphic novel, is located outside of Atlanta. It's not in Atlanta because in the Walking Dead comic book, when Rick and his group decides to leave Atlanta, they end up finding the Wiltshire community. That's after they decide to leave Atlanta in the comic book. But now in the Walking Dead TV series, the Wiltshire community is located in Atlanta. Now, I'm not sure if y'all remember this, but I remember in 2011 when The Walking Dead, or the first half of The Walking Dead season 2 had came out. I remember episode 6 of The Walking Dead season 2 titled Secrets. Remember they had the Sophia plot going on. Everybody was looking for Sophia at that time. In episode 6 titled Secrets, Andrea and Shane decides to get in a car and drive off to another neighborhood to look for Sophia. But it's also close. It's still also close to Herschel's Farm. It's probably 40 to 50 minutes away from Herschel's Farm. Now, once they get there, I don't know if y'all noticed this, but I did even when the episode first aired. And Robert Kirkman confirmed it at the 2012 Comic-Con event that was going on. He said that he left an Easter egg there for the fans because he stated that the neighborhood that Shane and Andrea was in was indeed the Wiltshire community. And you can tell by how beautiful the houses was in that community. But the only reason you couldn't tell because you never saw them go to the opening of the community where it has the fence at in the barricades. We see them inside the community, but we never see them get to the entrance of the community. So therefore, a lot of fans was confused about that scene, but Robert Kirkman, like I said, he confirmed at the 2012 Comic-Con trailer that he put that scene in there as an Easter egg to pay homage to the Wiltshire community. So when Shane and Andrew was in that community, that was the Wiltshire community, but you couldn't tell. But our characters right now in The Walking Dead Season 5, Rick and his group will be heading to the Wiltshire community. But I know what you're going to ask me. If Shane and Andrea already been there, why are they heading there? Because the Wiltshire community is not safe. Because we know when Shane and Andrea was there, it had a lot of zombies. People that had died in that residence start coming to Andrea and Shane, trying to attack them because they were stuck inside the community because they couldn't get out. Well, remember when Shane and Andrea left the community, they never went back to Herschel's farm and specifically told Rick that we had went to the Wiltshire community. Shane did tell him we found a neighborhood, but he never specifically said it was the Wiltshire community. So therefore, Rick and his group at this point doesn't know about that place has a whole bunch of zombies, or it has already been outran with zombies already, because Shane never specifically told him the neighborhood that they went to. So now this neighborhood is like a new sanctuary to Rick. It's like a new find for Rick now. So once he finds this place, he's going to be like, wow, we found home. But little does he know that Andrea and Shane has already been in that neighborhood. But he doesn't know that because, as I stated, he never told Rick about the neighborhood. He said the neighborhood, he mentioned the neighborhood, but he never mentioned the specific name for the neighborhood. Now, I think when Rick and his group get there, they will have a rude awakening. They might live there for 1 or 2 days, but then the people who had died in that neighborhood and they had reanimated will start coming out of the houses or wherever they was at before, and now they will try to attack Rick and his group. And you got to remember, the neighborhood has barricades around it, so zombies from the outside of the neighborhood will start coming on the gates and stuff, trying to get in as usual. So I hope you guys enjoyed my Walking Dead video about the Wiltshire community. Our group will be heading there in the second half of the Walking Dead Season 5. Although in the comic book they didn't stay there that long, they stayed there. And also in the Walking Dead TV series, they're going to stay there probably for 1 or 2 days, but they're not going to stay there that long. So don't be expecting too many episodes for the second half of The Walking Dead with Rick and his group at the Wiltshire community. Don't be expecting that, because they're not going to stay there that long. They will have a rude awakening. So, hope you guys enjoyed my Walking Dead review or video. Give me a like or thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed it. God bless you all, and hope you guys enjoyed my video again. Peace. And share and like the video. Thank you.